Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So this channel, Every Data Science, is all about trying to learn the different concepts involved in science by practicing a lot of questions. In this video, I'm going to solve this question on status queries regarding uses by average session time, both using Python as well as MySQL, and try to walk you through how we can develop solutions to such problems. The difficulty level of this question is medium. This question has been asked in Meta or Facebook interviews, and it is a great question to solve if you are preparing for data engineer, data scientist, BI analyst, or data analyst interviews. Okay, let's jump right in. The question reads, calculate each user's average session time. A session is defined as the time difference between a page load and page exit. For simplicity, assume a user has only one session per day, and if there are multiple of the same events on that day, consider only the latest page load and the earliest page exit, with an obvious restriction that load time event should happen before exit time event. Obviously, output the user ID and their average session time. We are given a data frame called Facebook web log, and our expected output is a pandas data frame with two different columns, so different user IDs and their average duration. Right, let's inquire about this data frame Facebook web log. So it has basically three different columns, different user IDs, timestamps, and the action. So if you look at it, right, so it says like if there are multiple actions on the same day, take the one for page load, the latest one or the last one, and the earliest one or the first one for page exit. So for example, if we take user ID 0, right, on 25th of April 2019, if we look, there are two page loads, right, and then there are scroll down, up, and all that. Okay, let's see if there are any other entries. Okay, so all these are for 28. Now obviously if you look at it, right, there are two page loads, right, and the last one for page load is this one, right, basically 3 seconds after. So we take this one as page load time, and page exit there is only one, so we take this one, and then we can calculate the difference in second between this time and this time, right? Similarly for other user IDs and same user ID on different dates. Since we are going to use the date time library, so let me import date time as dt. Right, now let's do the first thing is, since we are having timestamps, right, but on a particular day we need to make sure that we are taking the last or the latest timestamp for page load and the earliest for page exit. So let's make a fourth column which only has dates, right, so it does not have the timestamp on it. So what we can do is, from this data frame web Facebook web log, let me create a column called date, which is basically what, Facebook web log, right, Facebook web log, a timestamp column, just take it and convert it into date. So date time dot date, and let's see what do we have here, Facebook web log. Okay, let me run this. So now you have a column called date which has basically the dates, right, so it does not have the time part. Okay, now once we have this, then we are only concerned about page loads and page exits. So let's make a data frame called page load, right? So let me make or let me just write df1. So df1 is basically what, Facebook web log, right, Facebook web log, and Facebook web log log, and the column action is basically equal to page load, right, page load. Let me see what do we have for df1. If I run this, so these are all the rows where we have page loads, right? Similarly, we can have this for page exits, right? So page exits, let me write this as df2, and action is equal to page exit. Okay, so once we have this, then what do we need to find is, from this page loads, for each user ID and date, what is the maximum timestamp, because that is what we have for the page load. And similarly from this one df2, we need to find out for each user ID and date what is the minimum time of page exit, right? So how can we do that? We can make another data frame called page load, which is basically equal to what, df1 dot group by, right, df1 dot group by the user ID, right, so user ID and then date column, so user ID and date, and from the column timestamp let's take out the maximum value. And since we are grouping by user ID and dates, we need to reset index, right, to appear them as column. So reset index. Okay. Okay, and let me run this, right? So let me write page load. Oh, okay, so this should be df1. Let me run this. Okay, so now you have for user ID different dates the maximum time, right? So instead of this timestamp might be confusing, so let me rename this to page load time, right? So rename columns and provide the key value pair. So change the timestamp to let's say PL time, right? So PL is basically page load time. Let me run this again. So now we have, okay, different user IDs and dates and their page load time, right? So that is the maximum on each of these dates. Once we have that, then we can have the same for page exits as well, right? So let me just copy this entire thing, right? Copy this entire thing, paste it here. Okay, so page exit, let's make another data frame page exit where you have df2 because df2 is related to page exit, right? And it should be page exit time, right? Let me see page exit data frame, right? So page exit data frame, you have the same thing for page exit times as well. So now you have the one data frame page load where you have user IDs, dates and the page load time, and page exit data frame where you have user IDs, dates and page exit time. So what you can do is, since you need both of this information, the load time as well as the exit time, to calculate the difference between the two and then calculate the average. So what we can do is, let's make a data frame called df, which is basically what, pandas dot merge the page load, right? So page load data frame and then page exit data frame, and on, so it should be merged on two, right? So on user ID as well as the dates, right? Because there are different dates available, and for each date we need to find out the load time as well as the exit time. So on, and since there are two columns, so we need to provide a list. So firstly user ID and then on date, you merge them. And how do you want to merge them? Because it should be inner. Why inner? Because the data should be present in both of these tables, right? Otherwise, if you have page load in page load data frame, but you don't have the page exit for a particular user ID on a particular date, you cannot calculate the difference, right? So that is why having those such kind of rows does not make any sense. So how should be inner? Okay, let me see what do we have for df now. So now you have different user IDs, dates, page load times and page exit times. So now once you have this, then what do you need to do? Let's make a fifth column called difference, which has basically the difference between these two in seconds, because we need to calculate the averages in seconds, right? So let's make another column called df, which is basically what? df of page exit time, right? Page exit time minus df of page load time, right? So page load time. Okay, and all this, once you calculate the difference, you need to convert this into seconds. So dot dt dot seconds. And let me see now what do we have in df. So now you have the different differences in seconds. So once you have this, then what do we need in the output? What do we need for user IDs? The total average duration. So basically, if you can see, what we need to do is group by the user ID, and from this column called difference, just calculate the mean, right? So df dot group by the user ID, right? Group by the user ID, and from the column diff, just calculate the mean. And since the mean column will be named diff, so we can rename that, right? So rename columns is equal to diff, change that to what? Diff duration, right? So duration. And now let me run this. Let's see what we have. Okay, one thing that we forgot to do here is we need to reset index, right? Because if you are grouping by user ID, that will be in the index. So calculate the mean, and then you need to do reset index first, right? Reset index and then you rename. Okay, Let me run this. So now you have user ID and duration. So you see our output is same as expected output, right? Let me go ahead and submit it to pass all the test cases. So yeah, everything is green, and this is how we do it. Now let's do the same thing using MySQL. Okay, so if you look at same question, right, and our expected output is same as well. And if we preview the table, we have the same stuff as well. So here also what we can do is, firstly, we can make a common table expression which has only page load data, then page exit data, and for each user ID and dates, right, we can have, okay, so for page loads, what is the maximum time, and for page exit, what is the minimum time, have all that in one particular place. So join those two common table expressions, and once you have that, then calculate the difference and calculate the average. So what I'm saying is, from this table called Facebook weblog, let's keep only those rows where action is equal to page load, right? So action is equal to page load, then group by the user ID, and also the dates, right? So this is a date time, we only need the dates. So you can use the date format function. So date format, and change the format of timestamp column to year, right? So %y year, then month, and then date, right? So change that to this, and then you return the user ID, right? So you return this thing, this entire thing, and then you also need, and let's alias this as date, and then you need to find out the maximum of timestamp, right? So maximum of timestamp, and let's alias this as page load time, right? Let me run this. Let's see what we have. So for different user IDs, dates, the page load time, right? So you have this. Then what we can do is, we can save this entire thing in a common table expression, right? So with let's say PL as, right? So with PL as the name of the common table expression is PL, and then have the same thing, right? So have the same thing for page exit. So PL or PE as, page exit as, and then you can just copy this entire thing, right? Because it is going to be very similar in nature. So copy this entire thing, and instead of maximum, it should be minimum, right? So minimum of timestamp as PL or PE time, so page exit time, it should be action is equal to page exit, right? Okay, so now you have the tables for different user IDs and the date formats, right? And you have the page loads time and the page exit time. Then what we can do is, we can merge those two information. So what I'm saying is, comma, from page load, let's inner join page exit, right? Page exit common table expression on page load dot user ID is equal to page exit dot user ID, and page load dot date is equal to page exit dot date. And once you join it, then you return. So return the three columns that you have for page load, user ID and date and PL time, and from here page exit, since you are doing an inner join, right? So these two are basically redundant, so you just have PE time from that. So we can do PL dot asterisk and then PE dot PE time. Okay, so now you have different user IDs, the dates, and PL time, and page load time, and page exit times. Now once you have this, then what we can do is, let's store this again in a common table expression, right? So this entire thing goes into parentheses again. So let's do CTE as, and also since we already have the PL time and PE time, right, we can calculate the difference. So we can write timestamp diff in second, right, and calculate the difference in from PL time and PE time, right? It's because we already have PL time and PE time, right, in the common table expressions PL and PE. So let's calculate the difference in seconds, and let's alias this as diff. Okay, so now once we have this, then let me do select star from CT. Let's see, like, if we have that column. ready for us. So now you have a difference, right? So you have the information. Then what we can do is from this CTE, let's group by user ID, return user ID, and then average of diff column, and alias this as average, right? So as average. I think like this looks good. Let me go ahead and run this. So now you have your user IDs and averages. Let me go ahead and submit it to all the test cases. So this is solved, and this is how we do it. This seems quite long, but actually this is not long. Also, like if you want, you can combine this entire thing into one common table expression, this entire thing, right? So for page load and page, so this entire thing you can combine into one. So have maximum and then comma minimum of timestamp for p time, and where action is in a list called page load and page exits. You can do that, right? And that will make this even more concise. But yeah, this is how we do it. Let me know if there is a better way or a more efficient way you can think of to solve this question. Let the solution be in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.